All right, beautiful people. We've got a kitchen podcast on the go. I'm like sitting in the middle of my apartment. I'm on a little island in the middle of my kitchen. But, anyways, I wanted to create this video. I don't know if you're watching, if this is a podcast for you, this is a video, YouTube, whatever. But I really want to talk about something because it's honestly holding so many coaches back, and that is crafting their offers. And this, like it really truly is holding a lot of people back. They're spending way too much time on their offer, and this should not be complicated. Like, for context, like when people come into a program with me, like, yo, we should have your niche and your offer nailed within the first 7 days for sure. You know, like it should be that fast. And so, I'm gonna read you a DM that I got on Instagram. This was a conversation that I was having with a girl that's been in my world for a while. She's been wanting to work with me. This is how the conversation went in the DMs today. I'm going to share this with you to give you some context, and then I'm going to give you like what I would do if I was in your situation, which is totally what I did, and it worked very well. And like, I've just had this validated by so many other entrepreneurs, and so I just really want to share that with you. So basically, we're in the DMs, and she goes, "So when I come to you, I'll have my free resource sorted, my low ticket offer, and then my program, not overcomplicating it, keeping it simple." And I kind of read this and I was just like, oh man. Here's what I responded. I said, okay, haha. Side note though, just so you know, you need none of that to start. Just being honest, LOL. Like, this is just me talking, like this is just me actually speaking, right? Just being honest, LOL. Like, legit, if you have I can teach you how to have your main offer ready in like an hour, but you do you, right? And the reason that I said this was because I was like, man, it sucks sometimes when people have these beliefs and they think that they need all this stuff in order to make a sale. They think they need all this stuff in order to get started. And I'm sitting over here like, I kind of know that you don't need that stuff. And the reason that I know is because I did all those things and painfully made all those mistakes. And like, I'll maybe tell some stories about this, but like, it's hard for me because I can see people and their beliefs, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to break these beliefs and get them to see it from my perspective and explain all this. But I was just like, look, I'm just gonna say this, but ultimately you can do what you want. You'll reach out when you're ready. Like, I don't know if I really want to have to do belief surgery on you right now in this DMs, right? And then she goes, right, okay, I'll feel like I want to kick myself. I spent a lot of time on it. And then she just asked to get on a call, right? And we actually did have a chat, and I really hope that she joins the program. I know that I can help her, but let me just kind of break this down. So basically, if I go back to this, she says like, you know, I'll come to you when I have my free resource sorted, my low ticket offer, and my program. 3 things: free resource, low ticket offer, and program. So here's the thing. You don't need a free resource to make money as a coach. You actually don't. Could they be helpful? Sure. But that's not the thing that you need in the beginning, right? My low ticket offer. Could you have a low ticket offer? Sure. But for a lot of coaches, like for some people that makes sense, but for a lot of coaches, that's not the number one thing you need right now. Like the problem is everyone's trying to create everything all at once. And it's like, that's overwhelming as F, right? Does YouTube care if you swear? I don't know. But like, that's just so overwhelming, right? And then even she was creating this program, but the reality is, to do coaching with somebody, like to do one-to-one coaching, you actually don't need a program. Like, I'll just be 110% honest with you. Like, the first program that I ever sold, the first 3-month coaching package that I ever sold, I had 0 outline. 0. Like, let me just say this again. 0 outline. The only thing that I had was a structure, right? So I knew, like, basically, like, look, when this video is gonna be probably so all over the place, but you know what? It is what it is. But like, when you sell something to somebody, like really, you just need to know like what problem are you solving? What problem are they struggling with? In this case, this person was trying to grow their business, and I was like, cool, you're trying to grow your business. You feel like you need help with X, Y, Z. Is that right? Yeah, totally cool. I can help you with those things. Would you like help? They say yes. Cool. Okay, great. The way that this would work is I have a 3-month coaching program, right? We meet weekly on Zoom, and you get access to me on Voxer in between sessions. Like, imagine it's just like having a coach in your pocket. Does that sound like it'd be helpful, right? Like, this is how I sold my first coaching package. It was just like, Like, you have this problem to solve. Cool, I can help you solve it. Here's how I'm going to help you solve it. 3-month program, weekly sessions with me, access to me in between, right? The investment is $1,500 for 3 months. What do you think? And then I just shut up. And then there was hesitation. Just like this. Awkward silence. And then I was like, okay, cool. Because I was new and because she clearly didn't trust me yet. Hell, I didn't even really 100% trust me yet, but I was like, I knew I had to do it, right? There's no way to get experience other than getting experience. And I was like, look, if this goes to hell in a handbasket, I'll just refund you. If you're not happy by the end of this 90 days, I'll just refund you. Does that sound fair? She's like, yeah, cool. First $1,500 coaching package, just like that. That's all you need. If you're watching this video right now, or you're listening to this podcast, cool. 3 months. Weekly, decide on the cadence of the sessions. Like just copy paste. 3 months, sessions, access in between, risk reversal. Easy offer, right? Now, here's what I want to say. And this is why this podcast is probably going to get a little bit rambly, but whatever it is. Podcast, video, it doesn't matter. Anyways, what I want to say is, once you do that, right? Once you start getting clients, and I'm not saying, by the way, that you shouldn't have an outline. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I didn't have an outline, and you don't need an outline. Now, could you have an outline? Would it have been more helpful if I would have had a structure? Absolutely, right? But I didn't. And so my point is, you don't need it, okay? And you can just prevent you being a dickhead, for lack of better words, if it goes to hell in a handbasket by having a risk reversal. But here's the thing. Once you start working with clients, you are going to figure out what they need by experience. So here's how, like the program that I have today, the one offer that I have today, you want to know how I created it? And this is another thing. You don't need 3 offers. I have one. And if you listen to Alex Hormozi, he'll talk about 0 to $1 million is one offer, right? Anyways, I'm getting like really, I maybe should have made notes for this, but basically what's going to happen, like how I created my program today is I started working with clients. It was scary to sell the first program. It was scary, right? But I did it anyways. And then what happened is I started working with people. I started getting experience. I started to see who I liked and who I didn't. Like in terms of not like who I liked and who I didn't, but like who I enjoyed working with the most and who I enjoyed working with less, right? Who got the best results, etc., right? And then what happened was one day I was on the phone with one of my clients and I was like, yo, this is how it works. Like this was back in 2020. I was like, this is how it works. This is how you sell on Instagram. It's like this. You have to bring people into your world. You need a way to get them into your world. And then it's a combination of your feed content and your DMs and your stories. It's all working together as an ecosystem. And this is how it works. And I was just rhyming it all off. It was just channeling through me, right? And then I like had this epiphany on the call. I practically put my hands over my face and I was like, oh my God, I've been trying to create a course for the last, I had been struggling for 8 months at that point trying to put a course curriculum together and I could not figure it out. And then I was like, just had this epiphany on the session. I was like, Morgan, you just said everything. This is your course. Like this was the thing you've trying to been figuring out for 8 months and you just figured it out. But I didn't do that by locking myself in the course creation cave and creating something that I thought people wanted. I started working with people and I found out what they really needed through experience. And then when I found that out, then I was like, oh, this is the course outline, okay? And even if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't want to do one-on-one coaching, cool, keep listening because I have the blueprint. And if you want to create an online course, you sell it evergreen or it's passive, even though it's not really passive because you still have to market it. But anyways, a lot of people don't know this, but creating the program is not the big thing. Marketing and selling the program is 90% of the work. Creating the program is not that much work. But anyways, what you do, even right now, for the program that I created, it first started with one-to-one coaching and you figure out what people want, right? You got to get experience. You got to know what people want. That's how you make the best products and programs, right? And then once I knew and I understood what they needed, right? I was like, okay, cool. I have the outline now. The best next thing to do, honestly, isn't even to go create all the program modules. One way that you can do this, number one, there's a couple ways you could do this. You can start coaching people one-to-one, And as you see what they need, you start building the mini trainings, right? You start creating the program while you're coaching your people, and eventually you got a full-blown course curriculum, and then you can do group coaching, you could sell a course, you could do whatever, right? Another way to do it, the way that I did it, was I knew that my person was here, I knew who I was talking to, right? These are the key ingredients. So number 1, who are you talking to? Number 2, where are they at right now? Number 3, where are they trying to go, right? Number 4, what are the steps to get them there? And that is mostly all you need to sell, right? You obviously need the other pieces of your offer. Like the 5th thing would be like your pricing and your packaging and your, like when's the program starting and how much is it and what are the payment plans and like the logistical type things, right? But who are we talking to? What's point A? What's point E? What are the point B? What are the steps to get there? And then the other logistical stuff like price and all that jazz, right? That's all you need. You don't need the program created, okay? You don't. You really don't. And what you want to do is if you have those 5 things, then you can you can set the date and start promoting it, right? Set the date for your launch or your live program is what this is. It's all how you frame it, right? I'm running a live group coaching program. That's how you frame it. And then you set the date and then you start marketing it and you just start selling spots. And you don't need the program created to sell it, because when you make an offer, you're just telling them what the offer is. You're not actually giving them the product, right? They're not actually in the program. And so you can make the offer and you pre-sell it, right? And what I did for my very first launch ever, I pre-sold the program. It was a live program. It was $500. It was $497 or something like that. And I think I got 20 people and did a $10,000 launch. And when I sold those 20 spots, when I made that 20 grand, the program was not built. I just had the steps, right? And then what happened was I had the steps and that was my outline. And so I sold the whole thing. And then on before week one, I had to create week 1 and then I ran it, right? And then I got feedback from that. And then I knew what week 2 should have been. And then before week 2, I created week 2 and then I did that live, right? And you just do it week by week. And then people paid you to build the program. And that's how I did it. That's how I did my first iteration, right? So first it was 1-to-1. And then it was a live launch. It was like a live group, right? And then that live curriculum, I eventually took it and God, I did like 5 iterations on it at this point. Like I've been iterating the same stuff and just making it better and better and better every year. But now that is my course material, right? So now, I have the actual videos and scripts and worksheets and like it's just like full blown, like, God, you practically don't even need me. You know what I mean? But I didn't have that in the beginning. And my point here with this is, for anyone who's like creating your program and you're locking yourself in the cave and you're thinking that it needs to be all done before you do it, no, it's backwards. You have to flip it. I know it's counterintuitive, but you got to flip it. The best way to do this, honestly, would be like if I could, let's even say you wanted to sell an online course, just online course only. I'll talk about why I would never do that in a second, but if you want to do online course only, it's like, okay, cool. Do 1-to-1, figure out what people want, get the outline. Once you have the outline, use that to pre-sell something, right? And literally make money before you even build it. Because guess what? If you don't make money before you build it, then you know that it's not something worth building. Do you see what I'm saying here? And I'm just going to tell you why. Well, I'll loop back to this, but that's what you do. And then once you've run it live, then you can turn it into a course, right? So it goes like 1-to-1 and then group and then course. Okay? So even if you don't want to do 1-to-1 coaching, that's how I would do it. Even if you want to do 1-to-1 coaching forever, I would still, I'd still kind of do it that way. I'd like do 1-to-1 first and get what people want. And I would still build out training materials. Because what I found for me is like, honestly, I actually moved away from 1-to-1 at one point. I really don't have any 1-to-1 clients right now. And the reason is my group clients were getting better results. And I think that's because like there's a community and all that jazz. But I guess my point is, even if you're doing 1-to-1, having that like educational course component is like super helpful. So anyways, let's go back to this message. So I'll come to you when I have my free resource sorted, my low ticket offer, and my program. Here's a couple myths I just want to bust in this. Like, free resource, you don't need one of those to make money. Now, is that going to be helpful at some point? Yes. Because what do free resources do? They typically build your email list and they build more trust with you, right? Hopefully it provides value to people and it builds more trust. But you don't need that. Like, that's like, honestly, if I was starting out, that wouldn't be the first thing I would build. The first thing I'd build is a freaking offer and I'd start making some money. And then when I was making some money, I'd be like, oh, I should optimize my business more, and I would build a free thing, right? But like as a side note, like when I was into nutrition coaching, man, I had the website built, logo, branding, fonts, the website and the blog and the free thing, and like I was broke, So I just like, you don't need that. Like there's really like, I guess the biggest thing is like, if you have the right strategy at the wrong time, it's still the wrong strategy. Like there's a timing to this, you know what I mean? Like there's an order of operations in which you do things, and I personally just would never start with a free thing. So like, you don't need that. That's just making it long. It's just like literally making it longer for you to start making money in your business. So that was like, you don't need that right now. That shouldn't be your focus. The second thing was my low ticket offer. I'm like, you don't need that either. You don't, like, I have one offer. You don't need 1,700 offers. I know there's a lot of people out there talking about product suites and you need this and gaps in your offer, whatever. Great. You can have a bunch of offers if you want to, but you don't need that. And if you're selling a $20 thing, like, let me just do some math here. If you're selling a $20 thing, you want to make $5,000 a month. Let's divide 5,000 by 20. You got to sell 250 programs, 250 low ticket programs. Girl, guy, whomever, if you're like, that's so many sales. I have never made that many sales a month in my life. So it's just like, that's not where I'd be putting my focus, And then the other thing is, what was the other thing? And then my program, and this is the point that I'm trying to make in here, in this particular video or podcast or whatever, is like, it's so funny. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm like, pretty sure this is going on YouTube, but maybe it's going on a podcast at one point. I don't know, but it's just like, even your program, it's like, you don't need what you think you need. And if you come into my world, we're going to have an offer for you ready to sell in the first 7 days, So I guess that's just my biggest thing. I hope this helps, but it's just like, that's why I created this. I just really want you guys to win. And, maybe I'll just, there's a couple things I want to say. I already talked about how I effed it up and started creating the free resources at first. And it was like, man, that was so out of sequence. And it's probably part of the reason why I was broke for 5 years, I was just doing all the wrong things. And anyways, it doesn't matter. And then the other thing is, I'm losing my train of thought here. I kind of wish I could hit pause on this podcast, but I can't. Oh, the other thing is with your program. Like, look, at one point, back when I was into like habits coaching, I built this, at the time I was selling this like 21-day morning routine challenge, and I spent so long building that thing, and I spent so long putting that together, and I built the sales pages and all this stuff, and then I went to go sell it, and like, it honestly wasn't something that people really wanted, and I spent a lot of time building it, and my whole thing is like, honestly, you shouldn't be doing that. What you should be doing is you should be selling first and building second. Because if you build first and you sell second, what happens is sometimes you spend a lot of time building stuff, and then you realize that nobody wants the thing. You built the wrong thing. And I've made mistakes like that where they literally cost me like 3 months of my life, 6 months of my life. Like, just to put this into context, like here's how I think about things these days. But like, imagine if I would have done it differently. And instead of it taking me 4 months to do something, it took me 1. It saved me 3 months of my life, right? It saved me 3 months of progress. I could have been 3 months ahead. Considering, like, what did I gross for this year? It's like 340K divided by 12. Okay, so 28,333 a month, right? Times 3. That's $85,000 that my business makes, like, based on the last 12 months, like in 3 months. That mistake is literally something that cost me like $85,000. Because if I would have moved 3 months ahead on the timeline, I would have been 3 months farther ahead. And considering that this is what I'm making now every 3 months, 85 grand, I would have, like, that mistake cost me 85 grand. And this is why I make this video. I really hope this helps you, but I just don't want you to make as many mistakes as I made. And the real big thing is just like, God, you don't need as much as you think you need. You don't need all the things. You shouldn't have 25,000 different offers. It's not about a lead magnet. God, you literally need nothing to sell your first program, honestly. So that's all I've got. I hope that this was super helpful. And I'd love to know. Actually, let me say this. Shameless plug. Look, if you want any help with any of this stuff, and it could be your niche, offers, marketing, sales, whatever it is, I totally invite you to book a call below this video. There should be a link in the YouTube description. If you want help with this stuff, I just can't tell you. I cannot tell you how many mistakes that I could probably save you from making, and this is just an example of one of them. So I'll say that first, and then the second thing that I want to say is I would love to know from you, what do you want my next videos to be about? Is there something that's coming up for you? I'd love to know. Ultimately, I'm creating these to help more people at scale. And so, yeah, I'd love to know from you. So if that sounds like a plan, if you'd like some help with this stuff that could save you literally a ton of time and energy and money and headache, then click the link below. I'd love to see if I can help you out, and let me know what you want to see next. Anyways, lots of love.